In the past week, the Indiana Fever marketing team has launched their new campaign, which is as subtle as a root canal without the Novocaine. To put it simply, the Fever are done playing the WNBA's collectivist PR games and are done acting like they're not the main event. This campaign is a full-fledged offensive assault, a double-barreled middle finger to the haters who've been attacking them for the past year. Caitlin Clark wasn't the only one who was building muscle during the offseason. We're talking bold, confident, in-your-face social content that finally embraces what everyone already knows. The Fever are the team, Caitlin is the draw, and the league's future runs through Indiana. Let's get started, but first, if you're loving that the Fever are finally going on offense, like this video and subscribe for more Fever updates, because trust me, it's going to be a wild ride. Caitlin Clark is downplaying her records and disparaging the new fans who literally saved the league from irrelevance. Our road games sound like home games because our fans don't ask for permission to dominate this season, because the Lion must occasionally show the Jackals who he is. When I saw the new Fever campaign, my first thought was of Christopher Walken's performance in Pool Hall Junkies, in which he describes how the lion, the king of the jungle, sits quietly while the other animals take advantage of its passivity until the lion has had enough and rips everything in sight to shreds. The first part of that monologue essentially explains the Indiana Fever, which for the past year was the undisputed top of the WNBA food chain, accounting for 45% of the league's total revenue. Only when the Fever were in town did broadcast value teams upgrade to NBA-size arenas, but for some reason, during the previous season and into the off-season, many people in the WNBA ecosystem felt they could make fun of Caitlin and the fans at the very people who changed the league's course. The truth is that new fans are killing the WNBA right now. Perhaps I'll start with you, Kel, because Lord Jesus, your team and their fans are getting up in everyone's business, and the Indiana Fever just sort of, well, took it last season. The days of remaining silent and allowing the media and even league voices to take cheap shots without retaliating are over. Almost every Indiana Fever game this season has been chosen for national broadcast. Last season, the team simply went to work and let their on-court performance speak for itself. It seemed like they were at the center of all the drama within the WNBA, with everyone pursuing them and their fans, and they really chose to say nothing. The Fever aren't just good, they're dangerous. They're ready to run the league, and what we're witnessing now is a full-on pushback from the Fever organization. As I mentioned in another video, their new Now You Know campaign isn't some safe, PR-friendly promo. It's bold, loud, and unapologetic. The Fever are done. They sold out preseason games, and 15,000 seats were gone in minutes. They have an elite head coach, Stephanie White, and a completely upgraded championship caliber roster. Pretending to be one of many, they are letting everyone know that they are the team and that they are here to dominate from the court to the culture. We are not here to pursue greatness. We are here to claim it. This video was just released, and it is a completely authentic, American-made, tariff-free swag. It goes completely against how the Fever played last season. Instead, it fully embraces the cultural moment that is currently taking place in the WNBA and is unrepentant about its role and dominance. However, it doesn't end there. It isn't just about standing up for Caitlin Clark or fighting back against the hate from the media. The Fever are going one step further and telling the world that they're the best and that they don't care what you think. Our road games sound like home games because our fans don't ask for permission to dominate that line. It's not just clever marketing, it's a direct jab at the other teams in the league. It's obvious that the Fever have more fans and are louder, and telling fans to be unapologetic is a direct clapback at the players and media who criticize them, or claiming that fans don't have to conform to a predetermined stereotype in order to support the WNBA. They're here, they're loud, they're spending their hard-earned money, and they don't owe anyone an apology for it. What's even more amazing is that it's all objectively true, and they're finally saying it aloud. Because the backlash was foolish. A group of crybaby bullies And crybaby bullies bullied their way around the Fever last year, and Caitlin Clark is the best thing that's ever happened to women's basketball, the WNBA, and really women's sports in general. And anyone who says otherwise is insane. Now, all of this is fantastic news for the fans who have been turning the league around and selling out arenas while receiving constant criticism for not being true WNBA fans. For months, they have been reprimanded, arrested, and fired, but now they are using that criticism as their strength. The Fever aren't just standing up for their fans, they're celebrating and empowering them by saying, yeah, you're different, and that's... That guy, Don Cherry, a well-known Canadian hockey personality, called the Hurricanes a bunch of jerks because of their unconventional celebrations after winning a game. What the Hurricanes did was reverse the Uno and turn a bunch of jerks into a rallying cry. That, in fact, reminds me a lot of what happened with another sports team, the Carolina Hurricanes. What I'm talking about, you never do anything like that, and they're still not drawn. Pride and identity in a movement that inspired fans and fostered loyalty, and that's exactly what the Fever are doing right now. Take a look at the merchandise they recently introduced. If you visit the Indiana Fever's team store, you'll notice that they have a brand new t-shirt that reads, "Every game is a home game." On the back it reads, "Now you know," and there's a sold-out banner with their entire schedule, similar to a tour or a t-shirt. And we're just scratching the surface. The savagery with this campaign is next level, the Fever writes here. Some may think we've arrived because, well, the world knows our game, but now you know recognition alone was never the destination. This is the start of something unstoppable. JCS Sheldon catching them strays. Our ambitions are bigger than the headlines and highlight reels. The Fever has been active on social media lately, and that picture of JCS Sheldon getting her ankle snapped by... The confidence emanating from Indiana right now is off the charts. They're not just occupying the spotlight, they're thriving in it. Of course, this will irritate some WNBA purists, the ones who advocate for perpetual joy, sisterhood, and kumbaya-style unity over competition. But when you have 2 to 3 times the viewership of every other team every single game, and that gap is only going to get bigger this season, guess what? Caitlin Clark, God-tier trolling is the kind of audacious, unfiltered content that is uncommon in the WNBA. The Fever's game versus the Minnesota Lynx ended in a 1 because you're feeling all the joy you need. 219 million on Ion. The follow game didn't even receive half the ratings, and even if the rest of the league doesn't like it, that's a good thing. However, what many people fail to see is that the Fever aren't just showing off their dominance, they're raising the bar and inviting more formidable competition. If you're an Indiana Fever, you're saying, come at us. There are more rivalries, and the competitive nature of these games are heightened because of little things like this. For example, there are 41 national broadcasts, and teams are literally upgrading to NBA arenas, but only when the Indiana Fever are in town. If you're not an Indiana Fever fan, this will rile you up even more. If you're a Las Vegas Aces or New York Liberty fan, for example, this will make you even more excited when you go to these games where they are playing the Indiana Fever. There will be some emotional voices complaining about the Fever's strategy, saying it's too cocky or not in the spirit of the league. But let's be honest, this is fantastic for the WNBA. This is how dynasties are born, rivalries catch fire, and leagues grow. They're claiming that every team will want to be the ones to knock the Fever down a peg this season, and the Fever are fine with it. The Fever are becoming that team that every player is desperate to defeat, the one that fans line up to see whether they love or hate them. And based on how the Fever are dominating on social media during training camp and in the media spotlight, it is abundantly evident that they believe they have the team to take on the world. From the early returns we're seeing in camp, we can definitely understand why the new look Fever already appear to be in mid-season form, is casually pulling up from half court like it's a free throw, and Natasha Howard is swatting shots like she gets paid per block. However, beyond the highlights, there are some important details that show how much more complete, tough, and deep this team is, and why the rest of the league should be a little nervous. Let's start with Sophie Cunningham, who may be the most underappreciated addition to this roster. She can defend, shoot, and bring energy, and she's tough as nails. The fact that Sophie only comes in for a few minutes each game and gives Caitlin Clark or anybody else a break, starting at the 1, moving to the 2, or anything else, shows that she is confident and capable of hitting her targets cross-court. Additional video shows her spotting up, which allows her to still go over to the 2, the 3, the 4, and even spot up at the wing and make a three-pointer. Sophie gives them something they didn't have last season, someone who can be plugged. She's the kind of player championship teams need, and she can fit into any lineup and still have an impact, whether she's making open threes, defending the opposing team's best guard, or switching things up to get a spark going. In addition, there are 2 significant upgrades that I'll combine here because they complement each other and will have a significant impact. First, we're already seeing hints of the Stephanie White coaching era, and it's clear that she has the team's full support, allowing our bodies to move quickly and our minds to slow down. We'll be in situations where there won't be a structure, so it's up to you to start finding the calm and the chaos. We need to learn how to find space in chaos so that we can put people in positions to succeed. The energy is different, the structure is tighter, and the communication is clear. You don't see players who are out of sync on offense or defense. There's a level of precision and poise that wasn't there last year. She's passionate, intense, knowledgeable, and teaching the game without detracting from what she knows they already know, but we're building, which leads me to the second section about defense coaching. It's no secret that the Fever had a subpar defense the previous season. They struggled with rotations, gave up too many open looks, and frequently looked lost in crucial situations, which cost them games they should have won. However, just a few days into training camp, the signs are already there. This team will significantly improve defensively. So guys, the Indiana Fever actually have a defensive philosophy, guys. It's a miracle that they have a defensive philosophy. Lastly, let's talk about Dana Bonner, who seems to be going to have a big impact on the Fever this season, both on and off the court. She's making the right statements in interviews, setting the tone in practice, and her teammates already respect her as a player coach. She's a veteran WNBA legend champion, all-time versatile player who can defend, has length, knows how to score, and brings leadership to the locker room. Kelsey Mitchell stated that they have the best vet in the world, and Caitlin Clark added that they want to win for Dana Bonner overall. Returning to the campaign, this team already seems to be more than the sum of its parts. They are not only talented, but also energized by the moment, and perhaps most importantly, they look united, gelling, locked in, having fun, and they seem to be fully embracing the challenge and expectations ahead of them. During the offseason, a lot was said regarding protecting the locker room about whether the excitement surrounding Caitlin Clark would lead to conflict, but thus far, there are no indications of ego, tension, or drama. This team appears to be functioning in unison and focused on a single objective, and it's not just fans who are taking notice. The Fever's raving reviews are coming in from all over the league, including the recently renamed Women's Hoop Show, the podcast that was once Queens of the Court, yes, the one that Cheryl Swoops used to co-host. You should pay attention to what they have to say about the Fever, because it should be clear that only positive things can come from a Stephanie White-run team with Caitlin Clark. I just think this is a perfect pair, and I think they're going to make a deep run this fall. I know we were high on them, but are you still as high on them as we were from free agency? I'm not switching up. I'm standing 10 toes down, and I really feel like the Indiana Fever are a championship contender given the pieces they brought over. I said it in a previous video, and I'll say it again. I think this is the season the WNBA finally figures it out, even if they have to plug with their new Now You Know campaign. The Fever are doing more than just hyping themselves up. They're celebrating their place within the league while elevating it. It's bold, loud, confident, and exactly what the league needs to do to turn Caitlin Clark fans into lifelong W. To do that, the league must avoid unforced mistakes like allowing jealous media voices and sour player opinions to disparage the very fans who are packing arenas, driving record ratings, and bringing life to the sport. What the fan base needed isn't about a single player or team. Rather, it's about drawing attention and building momentum that attracts new fans rather than drives them away. As each day passes, things continue to get better for Caitlin Clark of the Fever in the WNBA and for women's basketball in general. The Lions are demonstrating their true selves to the world. So if you're still here, please leave a basketball emoji in the comments section to say hello and thank you for observing.